Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Navs Effect podcast on playback. We are also live on YouTube right now. And if you're not watching this live, maybe you're listening to it on Spotify. If you are, wherever you are, YouTube, Spotify, or playback, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We have college basketball season starting shortly. A few days from now. We're recording this on a Wednesday, September 4, and 3 days from now on Saturday, both the NCAA and the UAP will tip off their respective collegiate men's basketball tournaments, which is why I thought it would be a great idea to welcome familiar face in the college basketball scene in Coach Yuri Escueta of the San Beda Red Lions. We will have Coach Yuri on shortly to discuss his team's chances to go back to back in the NCAA title picture. I'd like to say hello to some of our usual visitors already in the stream right now, and to those on YouTube and playback. Again, much appreciated. Thank you for spending your time listening to this podcast. So we're just waiting for Coach Yuri to get on the stage, and we shall begin this shortly. Okay, I believe we're just waiting for technical matters to work to our favor before we have Coach Yuri Escueta on. Coach, I believe you might be muted right now, video and audio. So if you could hear that, hopefully you can turn it on. If not, let's wait for Coach Yuri to arrive here. Again, hello to all the listeners and the viewers on playback and YouTube. And if you're eventually listening to this on Spotify, much appreciated. There we are. Hi, Coach Yuri. I think you're muted on audio. I think you have to unmute, Coach. Ooh, still muted, weirdly enough. Okay, Coach, I'm going to invite you back to the stage because I think the connection didn't work properly. Give me. Oh, there we are.
Yan, okay. Okay.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Gaff, good evening. Good. All good.
Happy
Kamusta?
to hear it. Happy to hear it. I like the Anta gear that you're wearing today, but not San Beda Red.
Ah, actually naka-red ako sa loob.
Okay, okay. How's preparations coming for the season opener on Saturday?
Ah, good so far. We have 2 more days to prepare for Saturday's game. So, kahit na medyo yung weather is buwabagyo, we still have to go to practice in the morning. So, no excuses.
No excuses. I like that attitude. So when it rains, do you guys suffer leaks on the basketball court until today? I know you're
Um,
building a new gym, but it's not up yet, right?
No, okay na. Actually, we're using our new gym. It's just that pag umuulan, medyo moist yung floor. So we have to go to a different gym that has air condition.
I see. I see. Anyway, championships aren't determined by which teams practice in air-conditioned gyms or which roofs leak. They're determined by qualities such as what your San Beda team had last season. So, coach, preparations for season 100, how are they different from season 99 thus far?
Uh, Siguro in terms of personality, we had to introduce yung system to the new guys. Even though they've been with the team before, syempre iba pa rin if they're playing with the different kinds of players eh. So it's just how we assimilate them with the old guys with the new guys. So that's really the challenge now, yung familiarity of playing together.
I see. I see. Usually when you start a season, because it's a 3 to 4 month process, the season of college basketball. So when you start it, at this point, early September, usually early October, but now it's early September. Or for the UAP, at least it's early October. For you guys, maybe a little bit earlier than that. But this is still a relatively early start. Is there an adjustment period to your preparations, or how you physically and mentally prepare your players for the grind of a college basketball season?
Uh, a lot of course, physical preparation, especially in the NCAA, kailangan you are physically fit and strong to play in the league. Uh, and of course, mentally, it's just the mindset of our players coming into the season, what to expect, uh, being able to handle yung mga challenges that comes within the season, right? Just preparing them of the ups and downs and you know, how to be able to handle it properly. So at least when the it happens during the season, ready yung players and
Of course.
and the team, of course.
Got you, got you. All right. By the way, to the visitors and those listening right now, you guys will get to ask questions shortly. So, Coach, one of the tough breaks for your team, roster wise, the last few months was losing Bismarck Lina, who was supposed to be one of your quality big men. Can he still return in the second round of this NCAA season, or are you expecting to go the entirety of the season without him?
Uh, right now, the update is that he's on time, on track in terms of his recovery. Uh, we are praying that we get him back uh, later in the season or mid-season, uh, just in time for hopefully a late playoff push.
I see. And in the meantime, as you wait for someone who's 6'4", big body to come back, how do you make up for that lack of size or lack of interior presence? Unless you feel you have other big men on your roster already, eager and ready to step up.
We have guys that are in the meantime or that can fill the same spot. We have Joe Celso playing at the center, which is a big help for us in terms of our rebounding and defense, post defense. We also have Raj Soliano from our Red Cubs program, who is at 6'7", 6'8", uh, and also Maynard Songkuya from FEU. And I think Coach Norman has been doing a good job preparing these guys for this season. So in terms of yung skill work and of course yung teaching points on how to rebound. Yun yung one of Coach Norman's roles is yung rebounding namin and yung big skill work.
I see, I see. Of course, yeah. Now, this is a good question here that has been posted. Will it be a breakout year for one of your student athletes, Jomel Puno?
Well, hopefully. Yes. Actually, last year nag-breakout na siya. Kung mag-breakout pa siya again this year, eh. Di ba? Of course, that would be good news for us for the season. So, I think the key is for him just to be consistent this coming season. I think he led if I'm not wrong, he led the rebounding last year sa NCAA in terms of offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding. So as long as he stay consistent with that, it's gonna be a big help for our season.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm sure some Beda fans will be excited to hear that. Now, you have some key guys coming in who spent a year of residency in 2023. So, Penny Estacio from Lasal, who some people joke you traded for after losing Jacob Cortez. And you also have the Kalimag brothers, RC and Richie. Brian Sahonia, formerly of FEU, also coming in. And maybe I'm forgetting one more guy here right now, but you do have a few guys coming in after spending a year in residency. Do you expect them to fit in your system right away? Your system that some people call Yuri Ball, or do you think it might make it might take some adjustment before you can count
Well,
on them
one
to be
thing
producers.
before we even talked to them or recruited them last year, we of course we have an idea of how they play, and I think the yung style of basketball nila is really fits our system. So hopefully they can fill the void that was left by the guys who graduated, and of course yung Jacob. But I'm very confident in these guys coming into this season. So whatever role that they can give us or play would be a big help for us.
Fantastic. Happy to hear that, of course. Now let's get to another question here. One of the observations about RC Kalimag and Brian Sahonia are their consistency. How do you prepare them for an NCAA season? It's a good question because these two guys came from UAAP programs beforehand. Or do you think because you've joined so many off-season tournaments where they've played, they kind of have an idea of what the NCAA style is already like?
Uh, the NCAA kasi is different beast from preseason games, from the UAAP. So I'm sure they're gonna need time to adjust to the style of play. Eventually, I'm sure they're gonna get comfortable and just feel relaxed and play their games. Uh, I'm very confident in these two guys in their in terms of their offensive games, how they can shoot and create shots for themselves, and hopefully they can also play yung San Beda style of defense that would help yung them play longer. Kasi everyone knows that sa team namin, if you play defense, you're gonna stay longer in the basketball court. So even if you score 10 points, kung you give up 12 points, you'd be sitting on the bench. So everyone knows that.
Fantastic. I like to shout out Andre Ross for this question. Beforehand, hello to all the visitors again. If you haven't joined the channel or subscribed to the channel yet on Playback or YouTube, I hope you can do so. Thank you so much. Now let's get to this question from Andre because I was going to ask this to you, Coach. What is the difference between the NCAA and the UAP? Now you spent a lot of time with Ateneo coaching, learning from some of the greats, and you've now won the championship in the NCAA. How would you differentiate the two leagues?
Uh, of course, the very obvious reason is having a uh, foreign student, which helps a lot in terms of your rim protection and rebounding. So that's one thing that in the NCAA is free for all. Rebounding and the rim is wide open for rim attackers. So yung in the UAP kasi siguro 40%, 60% of the time rebounds would be with your foreign student athlete. But in the NCAA, it's a free for all. So if you don't box out, for sure, yung with the hard work and intensity ng NCAA players, yung rebounding niyan, you'd lose in the rebounding game. So that's one advantage and disadvantage of having a foreign student athlete. Second is the physicality. Uh, when I first came the NCAA, medyo na-shock ako sa physicality that is allowed in the game. Which is, if you don't learn to adjust, talaga magiging lugi ka eh. So, eventually, I myself as a coach and yung team ko, we learn how to adjust this physicality and learn how to embrace it. So yun yung one of the differences ng UAP sa NCAA. And yung talent siguro shows more in terms of yung local talent sa NCAA. I'm not saying na we know mas talented yung mas talented athlete height wise mas malalaki yung sa UAP, but there's a lot of talent that there's a lot of talent in the NCAA na ako rin when I first came nagulat ako na mayroon palang ganitong player dito, mayroon palang ganyan. Makikita mo talaga first hand how talented these NCAA players are, and nagulat din ako.
Right. And we got a commenter here, Lord, that says sa UAAP refined masyado basketball. Sa NCAA more into the Pinoy flavor of basketball straight up, which is nice in preparation for the pros. And we've heard that for years. Even me, I've covered college basketball for about a decade now. And, I've heard that a few times na sa UAAP, it's mostly skill, but the actual Pinoy style, Philippine style of basketball, you can find it more in the NCAA. Do you agree with that? Or do you think both leagues
Somehow
are
it's
more
true.
similar?
Somehow it's true yung physicality nga kasi they allow nga in the league. But in terms of skill and talent, alam ko they say that mas talented and skillful yung nasa UAAP, which could be true. But there are skillful and talented players in the NCAA, which yun nga sabi ko nga when I first came, nagulat ako na meron na talent and skill level na ganyan sa NCAA. And it's a credit also to the coaches. Of course, in the NCAA, you get blue chip rookies in the UAAP, but in the NCAA, you may get tier 2, tier 3 talent, but it's how the coaches were able to develop them. So, yun. So eventually, they become same, yung talent level becomes same with the UAP players din. So,
Of
very
course.
crucial din siguro yung them, the athletes being able to play and experience yung games a lot compared to yung nakaupo ka lang sa bench. Diba? Mahirap mag-improve ng ganun eh.
Correct, correct. And playing time is the most important
Yes,
part when it comes
diba?
to player development. Now, I feel like you've answered this in interviews beforehand for an article or a soundbite, but now that I have you in the podcast, I have to ask, where do you stand in terms of, FSAs in the NCAA? Do you want to see FSAs in the NCAA once again?
Well, of course, in San Beda, we always had yung FSAs, and the school has been successful with them, diba? And I think for me, as a coach, it helps improve yung quality ng game for especially yung mga locals natin. Being able to practice with the FSAs every day, being able to play defense or score over them, it really helps you get better in yung mga locals natin. So I'm pro for having foreign student athletes. But again, there's different challenges also of having yung mga foreign student athletes nga, FSAs. And swertihan din talaga yung pagkuha ng FSAs. Siyempre, you have to make sure that they go to school, they follow yung school rules. So yun yung challenge sa NCAA before, yun yung really. So, but I'm pro for having FSAs in the NCAA.
Coach, do you agree that, okay, because yesterday in the press conference, the NCAA, at least the Mancom people kept saying that the goal of the league is to train student athletes, more of the athlete part here, to be better for future international competitions to represent the Philippines in international play global scene. So doesn't it make sense, at least for basketball, that you have FSAs in the NCAA if the goal is to prepare these locals for international play, where they will likely go up against guys who are like FSAs, bigger, athletic, faster. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm also pro having FSAs in the NCAA. Yun nga, you get used to them every day, you get used to them in games, diba? So it helps you if ever you are called up for the national team, at least you're used to playing with, or ever foreign other leagues in the Asia, diba? You're used to playing with them and you're used to playing against them. So I think that will help a lot in terms of yun nga, yung improving yung local talent at the same time us getting used to yung international level of play.
But how do the players feel, coach? Because one of the arguments for no FSAs is, kumukuha siya ng pwesto para sa local na Pinoy, 'di ba? So, based from your conversations with players, your team and other teams, do you think they like having FSAs because it might make their life easier, rebounding wise, paint protection, or maybe they like not having FSAs because yun nga easier to score, more opportunities for the local big men, or is it divided?
Uh, I'm all about ano challenging yourself. Eh. So if you say that you're losing minutes and the opportunity to score or rebound against FSH, uh, it's not. I don't see you challenging yourself, being better, and the goal is always to get better if you're a athlete, right? Whatever sport you are playing, and the only way that you'd get better is if you play with better guys or stronger guys in practices in games. So I don't think that the excuse of losing a slot or playing time because there's somebody better than you hinders you from getting from getting to your goal. So hindi ako naniniwala dun sa naaagaw yung slot.
Awesome. Always the competitor. Not surprised given the coaches you've learned from. Now let's get to some rapid fire questions here. I want to get to some questions sent in by our viewers. First, this one, Coach Yuri, magkano dapat budget to maintain a champion team, especially that the competition now is very tight? Can you give us a ballpark idea, Coach?
Nako, wala akong that's not my may si Boss Jude ang makakasagot diyan. But wala akong idea dun sa ano. But of course you have to give up scholarships ng school, which is from the school. You have to give up allowances, pay yung dorm and yung lodging and food for every day. So medyo malaki, especially if you have a pool of 20 to 25 players. Hindi biro yung ginagastos mo. That's why I always tell my players to be grateful of whatever we have. What is given by the school and Boss MVP and our other sponsors. Kasi nga hindi biro yung mga all the help that we get isn't hindi maliit.
Of course, of course. So another quick question here. What are your thoughts about going up against your cousin, Coach Olsen Rosella?
Una, of course, it's I grew up looking up to him. When he was playing in the PBA, he was my idol. Sabi ko nga kapon, every decision that I made, I always consulted him. Before I went to high school, he was the one who told me to go to Coach Ato Badolato. When I went to Ateneo, he was the one who inspired me to go to Ateneo also. Even before I took this job in San Beda, I talked to him about it, and I really look up to him. So being able to coach against him in the NCAA is a privilege. At the same time, it's going to be a challenge. Knowing yung his coaching ability and yung basketball IQ niya. So it's going to be exciting at the same time, a challenge.
Well, we have a comment here from a Red Lions fan. Please, Coach, wag mo siyang i-idol pag kalaban natin sila. I think Coach Yuri will know what to do there.
Pinsan pagka naglaro na. Trabaho na yan.
Okay, another question I want to ask here before we get back to the interview. How will you utilize Bonzalida, your rookie?
Well, he's gonna be coming off the bench kasi at the same spot as Yuki and Jom. The kid is very energetic. He knows how to play basketball. He spaces properly. He gets rebounds. He can shoot. And his effort is always there. The main reason nga that we recruited him is yung how he played in the
UAP finals.
UAP finals. Not just the finals, but even the regular season. And si Bonzi is a winner. Diba? He's a winner. He would do whatever it takes for your team to win. So if he understands if it's coming off the bench, if it's starting, if it's not playing any minutes, as long as whatever you need for him, alam mong he will do for you. Winner yung bata.
Awesome. And we're going to take time for more questions later on, so keep sending them. Now, Coach, let's get to season 100. A lot of people have said that, at least from the preseason, it looks like San Beda and CSB will match up as the two favorites to win the NCAA 100 championship. How do you feel about that current matchup against CSB? You guys went up against each other in Phil Oil. There was one game you guys went up against each other in Phil Oil. Came down to a final play. I think James had the post up, had a shot, but missed it, and then CSB was able to pull it off. Do you expect some physical and challenging games against them?
Uh, of course, every time we play CSB, it's a challenge for us. Being a well coached team, Coach Charles and Coach Raiko, having talented guys in Liwag and Justin Sanchez, Tony Inot. Uh, we'll see. There are second game
Mm.
namin so after LPU. So hopefully the results favor our way this time compared to Phil Oil and yun.
So that's on Tuesday right away. So you
Yes.
face, I believe you face Mapua first, or is it
No,
Lyceum on
Lyceum on Saturday,
Lyceum?
CSB on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Exactly. So Lyceum CSB good tests, and
Oh
right
man, Final
away
Four
you'll
teams.
be you'll be put to the fire. Final four teams exactly, and it is season 100, right? So in some cases it's just a number, is 100, but it's also the centennial season of the NCAA, and winning something, uh, winning in season 100, just to put it simple, is extraordinary to some degree. Do you find it the same way? Do you think that winning season 100, because it is season 100, will feel like a different accomplishment compared to any other championship?
Uh, yeah, because what Boss Jude told us nga, we're the only remaining team school from the start from season 1 to season 100. So winning would be honor at the same time being the winner of the 100th season of the NCAA. Who would have known the 100th season of NCAA? It's a big plus for us. Knowing how everyone's been hyping up in 100 season.
100 season. Do you feel like the players are hyped about that? Do you sense that from them in practices and games and
Uh,
whatnot?
Actually, not really. We're not really thinking about it. Kahit season 98 or 96 pa yan, I'm sure they're hyped na to play in the NCAA.
Of course, yeah. Going back to the CSB part of things, you are facing some former players in Enot, Sanchez, and Cometa. Is there any motivation to prove to these guys maybe you shouldn't have left San Beda for CSB?
Not really. Actually, I'm very happy for the opportunity that they got sa CSB. I'm more worried about how my team would perform rather than be, showing them that what they lost. So I'm still in constant communication with these guys. Uh, I wish them all the best, and hopefully we get to have a good game on Tuesday.
Awesome, awesome, of course. Competition at its finest. Coach Norman has been part of your staff now, and he is helping develop your big man, particularly one of your new recruits, Xavier Gentles. What role does Coach Norman play in the development of your team on a day to day basis? Is he there at practice every day? How
Yes,
active is he during the games?
he's in our practice every day. He usually goes early to practice, he gets all the bigs, handles skill work with the bigs. He makes sure whatever is post work, mid post, ball skin work. He mixes it up. At the same time, rebounding work, yung mga rebounding drills niya, he does it with our bigs. And of course, defensive game plan. We communicate. He shares his thoughts on coverages, whatever coverage it is, and of course, just having him in practice, him talking to our bigs is a big help for us. Having a different voice. Kasi syempre, if I'm the one who's always talking, kahit paano, the hindi naman siya nag-asawa yung mga players, but if it's yung second voice comes from Coach Norman and Coach Boyet, it helps a lot in terms of yung putting in the heads of our players.
Of course, yeah. Especially when you have veteran champion coaches like
Yes.
that. You've had a lot of experience over the years. You've also coached Ateneo's Team B, Ateneo's women's team. You've coached as an assistant for the championship teams. What were the important lessons you picked up along the way, while coaching the blue and white that you've taken with you to some San Beda and you implement with the Red Lions?
Uh, Siguro it's the staying grounded uh, on wins and in losses. So just stay level, whatever happens, you stay humble. Siguro yun yung pinaka something I learned in yung Ateneo culture and yung Ateneo basketball team. So maybe that's one reason also why yung the 5-peat happened, the 3-peat happened. It's just to do the work that is needed and to stay humble every time.
Good mindset to have, of course. Now, a big part of success in college basketball starts a lot with recruitment, right? Because you can definitely develop skills and talent, but you still need to recruit good players who can contribute to winning, players who are willing to learn. So, say for example, coach, you have a player out of high school or a player who's transferring that you want to bring into your program, you want to bring into your pool of talents. What's the coach's job in a recruitment pitch like? Are you part of the first meeting? Do you go to the kid's house? Do you talk to the parents? How integral is that in your job every day?
Ako something I learned from itong early in my head coaching in San Beda is I try to get to know the parents first. That's very important for me. Uh, on how the kid was raised, how the player communicates with his parents, yung background nila at home. More than the talent and the skill level, probably that's something I learned that is very valuable. Talent will always be there. Talent, skill can be developed, but yung character and yung background ng player is very important for us, especially in San Beda. And as a coach also, that's something I look at. Yung how he treats his parents, how his parents uh, guides them. Yung so yes, yun yung ano ko, yung kasi before when I came to Semeda, I wasn't part of the recruitment. So on my second year, every time we try to recruit, we recognize talent. We try to talk to the parents and see yung background ng bata, what is valuable for them, uh, what the yung ano importante sa magulang. So yun yung isang important siguro and what I learned from yung first year ko sa San Beda.
Fantastic. Do you have an example where getting to know the parents of a kid helped you with the recruitment process recently?
Yeah, of course, of course. Siguro one of the first sit-ins I had was with Nigel Gonzalez of Mapua. And not just yung parents niya, but even yung support group niya behind him, which they really value yung of course yung having a good academic background, uh, having yung good tradition in terms of basketball, having the school yung school having a good tradition. So kita mo talaga na yung they're not there for how big the allowance is. It's just yung how it could help their son in terms of yung future ng son nila in terms of sa school and sa basketball.
Do parents and students ever ask the questions, pwede ba hindi na lang pumasok? Because we know sometimes that not everyone goes to class. But have you ever encountered a situation like that where someone might ask, okay lang ba kung practice lang at games, hindi na ako papasok?
Ah, unang-una, nararek di di na namin kakausapin yung player kagad pag sinabi sa amin yun eh. So, hindi pwedeng ang hindi pumasok. I haven't encountered a sit in with the parents and the players na yun yung tinanong.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for that. Okay, let's get to some questions here. A player who was closest to commit to San Beda before decommitting. Any example, coach?
Uh, si Allen Liwag.
Oh, really? Very close?
Allen Liwag. Yeah, very close, yeah.
So what happened there? Tell me the story.
Uh, I think he weighed in between CSB and San Beda. So they chose CSB over San Beda, which is the kids yung player's choice naman. But we
I
could have
see.
had Allen Liwag from EAC before.
That would be interesting to see how that plays out this season, knowing what could have been. Makes me more excited for the first CSV San Beda game. We got a question from Scrappy. In recent years, players from Beda have been poached by other schools. Thoughts on this, and have you changed any approach to prevent this from happening again?
Uh, we don't stop players if they want to transfer. Uh, ang sabi ko nga, if the player really wants to play for your school or appreciate the school that being is great for the school, grateful for the school, the coaching staff, the management, hindi sila aalis eh. But if they have a better opportunity, of course, hindi naman namin sila pipigilan. But as a coach, mas gusto ko na yung i-coach yung mga gusto to fight for your school, who appreciates everything you have assisted them kesa dun sa yung mga umaalis.
I
But
see.
no
I
hard
see.
feelings. No hard feelings when they leave. But of
All
course, we
right.
have to be a better as a program para maiwasan namin yung ganong ano, better as a school para maiwasan namin yung ganong situation. But with the current situation ng college basketball landscape sa Philippines, that's something na hindi maiwasan ngayon.
Got you. Thank you for that insight, coach. Very, very important. I have a question here from Enzo, who's from Ateneo, who wants to ask, Coach Yuri, do you still hoop casually? If you do you still put that signature headband on?
uh, Hindi na. I don't wear that headband anymore. But in terms of playing basketball, when did I last play? Last 3 months. Last 3 months. I try to play for exercise, not for ano na. Ayoko na. Sometimes there's this anta open runs with
Mm-mm.
the anta athletes. Miko invited me once, but the one time I played, yung next time sabi ko, pwede ba pag wala na lang athletes ako laro? Kasi
so,
medyo mataas na. Iba na yung level,
so,
baka ma-injure ka na eh. So gusto ko yung mga tito gaming na lang.
so safe to say you don't practice with your players.
No, I don't. Baka ano eh, too physical lang NCAA, baka masaktan ako.
Well, Lord here says, can we invite Coach Yuri to United by the Game, the runs that take place at Activate? Recently, guys like Kiefer Abando and some of the LaSalle players, your former guy Jacob Cortez was there, Jeff Chan too. So maybe you'll have to check that out, Coach. That would be very interesting. Okay, let's see what other questions did we miss here that could be worth asking, Coach. Oh, who's your dark horse for this NCAA season? So a team that no one really is talking about, but you think could do some damage.
Actually, hindi lang isa. I think EAC is one of those teams that would shock the whole league this year. Uh, Also, GRU.
JRU really? How come?
The way this coach Louis coaches his players, they really go hard every time. They run a good system, good defensive system, good offensive system. Uh, so these are the schools that I'm sure will get wins, not from yung contender teams.
Interesting. Well, they are coached by Coach Louis Gonzalez, who has experienced himself to Letran, LaSalle, and he's been at JRU for a while now. Coach Yuri actually answered this yesterday during the press conference, but since it has been brought up, what are your thoughts on the 4 point shot in the PBA? And I don't think you're in favor yet of the NCAA adding it, right?
As I said yesterday, it brings a new excitement to the game, especially dun sa PBA. But in terms of the college level, hindi pa siguro ready. Of course, our main goal is to develop athletes that could play for our national team or at the international level, which is which they follow yung FIBA rules. So for now, siguro not for college, but for in the pro level, it gives a different dynamic and excitement to the game.
Interesting. Happy to hear that. All right. Because, personally, I think the 4 point shot could be good for the pros, but I don't think it's at the level of college yet. But of course, who knows? We'll see if
Yeah.
things change. We'll see if developments happen, and maybe it will continue to grow. But let's stay in the 4 point shot for a little bit because I was actually speaking about this with Coach Tab earlier. He says that one of the aspects of the 4 point shot that people aren't talking about so much is that aesthetically it could ruin the game because the numbers might dictate teams to have players shoot more 4 point shots, because even then, if you don't shoot a good percentage of 4 point shots, you only need to make a certain amount, and it gathers a lot of points on the board. Like, so for example, if you take 10 shots, 10 mid-range shots, and you make 8, that's 16 points, right? If you take 10 4 point shots and you make 4, by the way, 8 out of 10, 80%. If you make 4 out of 10 4 point shots, 40%, way less, you get the same amount of points. So you need to make less to get as many points. So he thinks that because of this, if teams jack up more 4 point shots, then fans, the audience, everyone watching will end up just watching more missed shots. So do you think the four
Shots.
point shot, and it's also good because you're an assistant coach for TNT in the PBA. So do you think aesthetically the 4 point shot is bad for the game of basketball?
Uh, as I said, gives niya different dynamic and excitement to the game. Just like yung when you're up by down, just like it happened to us in TNT. We were up by 3 and Converge was able to make a 4 point shot. Uh, so yung at the end of the game, you really have to defensively buckle down this 4 point shot and probably give up threes, give up twos, but not the 4 point. So just it depends on the ano. It's not that you need to jack up 4 point shots every time, but it depends on the situation. Especially in the end game, it helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Converge took advantage of it, right? The four
Because
point
I
shot.
think Ahamisi of Magnolia has been shooting
Yeah,
well from the 4 point lot. 4 point
yeah,
shot. I think
yeah,
ng isang game naka 4 of 7, which is a high
exactly,
percentage kahit sa 3 points.
exactly,
So
exactly.
it really
But
depends who's
also,
shooting those 4 point
there
shots.
you go. Yeah, because like if Jerica had Missy's taking 7 4 point shots, you're okay with it, right? But if your big man who shoots 20% for the season takes 7 4 point shots, you're probably subbing him out after the fourth attempt or something like that. Now let's
Also,
go back. Yeah, go for it, coach.
as a coach, you have to recognize also who are the guys who are comfortable shooting those 4 point shots. Of course, if there are guys who aren't comfortable shooting 4 point shots, why would you go out and challenge? But if it's Ahimisi, diba? Of course you have to step out.
Would you have loved to play in a PBA or a UAAP with a 4 point shot?
I think my shot wouldn't reach from the 4 points. Medyo sweet shot ako eh. yung 3 points ko set shot. So, baka maging push shot siya pag 4 points ko.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Coach, you've been around basketball for a while now. What do you see are the major differences in grassroots programs for basketball back in the day when you were coming up to compare to where we are now?
Uh, Players are getting taller, more athletic. Skill level is higher because of all the skill coaches. Uh, Coaches are getting more smarter in terms of the way they coach. So I think it has improved a lot, especially at the lower levels. Uh, a lot of club teams have open and tournaments for young kids, which helps a lot in terms of yung child's development and just being able to run around, play a competitive game. Who would have known there would be an 8 under 5-on-5 tournament that plays in a regular simulation basketball court, diba? So I think would it I'm not sure how it would help improve yung yung young players now, but hopefully it does kasi hindi pa natin alam. But yung skill level, athleticism, and yung roof of players really improve.
And I mean, if we're being honest too, there's higher monetary reward for college players now also, or even high school in some cases
Hindi
compared to
ko alam
back in
eh.
the day.
Ikaw lang may alam yan, Navin eh.
I mean, no, but like back in the day, coach, allowance lang talaga kayo, 'di ba? I mean, you guys are
Oh,
happy with allowance na, 'di ba?
allowance and meals, yes. Oh, masaya na kami dun.
Man. Do you think
Oh, Navin,
this
I'll
has
ask you a question. What do you think about
oh,
that?
go.
Dun
About
sa, you
allowance
know,
and meals?
allowance,
Important.
allowances now and the ano. So what's your take on that?
Well, honestly, I'm happy for the kids because and my reason for this has always been, you know, as athletes, your window of taking advantage, at least from a monetary perspective, is actually earlier and younger compared to other professions. So, like for example, me as a writer or in media, I could realistically do this to like what, maybe 50, 60 years old. But as athletes, if this, coach, if you're 35, 36 years old and your body can still take the grind of being an athlete every day, you've had a fortunate career na, 'di ba? If you go more than 7, 8 years sa PBA, medyo, you're set. That's why I feel na if you're because your window of opportunity is slimmer, it's good to take advantage early because you don't know if it's going to come again. Right? Does that make sense? What do you think?
Yeah, pwede. But I think there should be limitations to everything.
Like a
So,
cap.
yeah, limitations, yeah. Cap.
Because,
Uh,
like, for example, in the UAAP, they say, di ba? I mean, we don't, it's probably not followed, but apparently the cap is 15K a month allowance for the student athletes. Do you know if the NCAA has a cap on allowance?
I think I think same kasi ano yan eh, bill yan eh. 'Di ba? It
Hmm.
was it Congress or Senate bill that we need to follow. So
I'm not sure, but yeah. So but do you think everyone's just getting 15K?
uh, no comment. Ayoko.
No, but let's say you were a college athlete again, di ba? Let's say Ateneo or somewhere, and someone told you, okay, Yuri, will give you, for example, sabihin na lang natin back in the day, like 30, 35 a month or 40 a month allowance. As a college student at that time, would your first reaction be absolutely kukunin ko yan, di ba?
Ah, malaki. Malaki yan. That's big during my time. Okay.
Exactly. And of course, my inflation, kaya it's bigger now. But back to the main point of it, the purity of the game, do you think it affects the determination of athletes to keep improving and getting better if they have higher allowances from an early age?
Uh, ako, I'm not into giving higher allowances as a coach. Uh, I know some players need yung allowance to help support their families, but also I want them to stay hungry, to keep getting better, and be aiming for getting to the pros, aiming to getting their diplomas. Kasi tingin ko pagka masyado malaki allowance, of course there's always a tendency that yung mga players magre-relax, they
Mm-mm.
get contented with what they have, and that's when improving and getting better uh, basketball and yung the goal of being able to graduate nawawala.
How about
So
how about social media, coach? Do you feel that social media and digital content impacts the mindset of players now? Because nowadays, I've heard some players tell me this, that some players are concerned about yung pictures nila pag dadating sila sa arena, ano yung suot nila, or yung mga highlight plays na magva-viral. And us media, of course, we play a part in this also, pero it's also our job, right, to find the
yeah,
nice plays na that will go viral. But do you
uh,
see it as a factor in the development?
development of the players, no, but I think sabi ko nga, there should be limitations to it. There's advantages of in social media as an athlete, as as people look up to. Uh, Me personally, kami in San Beda during the season, especially, uh, I told my players try to limit yung social media activity nila. Uh, I tell them yung they're not allowed to post yung of course their own yung highlights sila. Uh,
So wait, that's actually a rule na San Beda players aren't allowed to post their own highlights?
yes, so yeah, they're not allowed to. But I do allow them to post yung highlights ng teammates sila.
Okay. What's your rationale behind that? What are you trying to accomplish
Uh,
with that?
Sabi ko, one of our mantras is humility. Uh, and of course we don't want you giving yung opponents mo motivation. At the same time, just knowing your capabilities, no need yung likes from the people around you. But of course, I also understand how their names are brands also. Uh, so just putting a limitation to everything.
Has there ever been a time you had to get mad at the student or a player for posting his or
Uh,
her highlights?
I don't get mad naman for posting. I remind them na
Mm.
you know just be careful of in posting your own highlights. Of course, syempre your opponents are watching also. You don't want to give them motivation. At the same time, uh, act like it could happen normally. You know
Mm.
that you don't need to highlight it. Highlight your every move.
I get you. So it's like you're saying you don't need to highlight it because this is an everyday thing. It shouldn't be like a one
So,
in a
baka ma-appreciate
yeah.
ko ba kung if they're posting their lowlights.
Their low lights, yung mga turnover. That would be interesting. Yeah.
Actually,
No, no, for sure.
yun, gawa ka ng page na puro lowlights. At tingin mo marami kang magiging follower dyan.
Sige. Pero baka ma-brand ako as a hater, yun lang, di ba? But if it will help your team, coach, why not? Okay, before we let Coach Yuri go here, I want to get to some questions sent in by people. Oh, this one's good. So quick rapid fire tayo dito, coach. Your biggest adjustment from season 98 when you missed the finals to 99?
Siguro just being able to prepare longer. So I was able to uh, teach yung system that we like would like to run. So yun yung biggest difference and adjustment that we had from 98 to 99. A whole year to be able to prepare.
Fantastic. How about this? What are your thoughts about the new UAP residency rule? And do you think NCAA teams can capitalize on this?
Uh, it has its positives and negatives also. Of course, you don't want naman to for players to lose their eligibility. But of course, also yun nga, you don't want them jumping from school to school. I think it would help a lot in terms of players being able to finish school. Say, how can you finish school if you jump around from school to school?
Mm-hmm.
And medyo old school ako dyan that I like my players to be able to perform in the basketball court and also in their academics. Because as you said, yung window nga of being an athlete is short. So at least, even though, sabi, oh, coach, kumita na siya ng maraming pera, but still they have to be able to know how to use their money after playing basketball.
Mm-mm.
Uh, so doon ako, I agree with it because of I want athletes to be able to stay in school and finish.
Great thoughts, of course. Nice one here from Enzo. Who is the best player you've ever coached? Is it CJ Perez?
Dwight Ramos,
Oh, interesting.
when he was with the Ateneo Team B.
Wow.
Kita naman natin sa gilas kung why, but his basketball IQ, yung his strength and height in a point. I play him at the point at the point guard position, and yung pogi.
Gotta add that part, right? Gotta add that part. Okay. Who is the coach that you look up to the most?
A lot actually, a lot. Not just a single coach, but of course, Coach Norman, Coach Sandy, Coach Tab. Ano ako sabi ko nga sa players ko nanggagaya lang ako and I pride myself in that na I try to learn from all of these coaches, Coach Chot, Coach Jolas, even the opponents, the coaches that I have played against. Uh, I try to take whatever I can from them. So, but of course, the Ateneo coaches and the TNT coaches.
Of course, of course. Okay, we're gonna end with this last one question. I just want to know if you agree or not, Coach. This is a statement actually that was posted. Loyalty ends when allowance steps in. What do you think?
I am big with loyalty. So, uh, in terms of my decision making this year dun sa final lineup namin, everyone was deserving, but again I am big with the loyalty and the showing gratefulness to the what the school has given us. Sabi ko nga, that's the main reason as coaches, me, Coach Jenkins, Coach Alex, Coach Francis, uh, we Coach Martin, we all came from San Beda. When I was coaching with Ateneo, we almost all of us came from Ateneo. So I'm big with loyalty rather than yung monetary allowance and whatever it is.
Fantastic. Well, Coach Yuri, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Best of luck with San Beda's opening this weekend. Best of luck in your championship defense campaign. And I'm excited to see how you guys perform. Thanks to everyone who sent in their questions. You're always welcome here, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Can I have 5 minutes to plug something?
Yeah, yeah, go. Take all the time
Okay.
you need.
I would like to invite or tell all the San Beda alumni to we have this drive to sell season tickets, season pass for the season 100, and it's for a benefit not just for our basketball team, but it's for the whole San Beda athletics program from for all the sports. So if you are interested in buying the season 100 pass for the NCAA, please get in touch with Sir Rayu of TKBK. So he'd be glad to help. And thank you to everyone. Thanks for
Is
having
there
me,
an
Naveen.
is there an online source where they can buy the season pass? Is there a website or a social media account they can look
Uh,
for?
they can get in touch with Rayu. I think it's with the Tunay Kambidista's page in Facebook. So there.
Fantastic. Well, I hope many of the San Beda fans look out for that. And again, Coach Yuri, thank you so much. Best of luck
Thanks
and
for having me, Naveen.
God bless. You're always
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Okay, so that was it with Coach Yuri Escueta of the San Beda Red Lions. Thank you to everyone who sent in their questions. Thank you to everyone who tuned into this episode, whether on YouTube or playback, or if you're eventually going to listen to this on Spotify. Much appreciated. Keep listening to the Navs Effect podcast. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even TikTok now, apparently, because that's where all the kids are. But much appreciated. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in. UAP NCAA starting this weekend, so I anticipate more content to come. Going to do post UAP game reaction episodes. Gonna have my guy Nico Rocha on for a lot of those, which will involve some live corner segments that some of you might gotten used to. Also gonna do NCAA, but the good thing about the NCAA, because they are awesome in terms of streaming their games on YouTube and Facebook. By the way, I learned that the main motivation for GMA and NCAA to stream on YouTube is to reach the families of the student athletes who are in the province. It is much easier for them to watch on YouTube and Facebook. So, good job to the NCAA and GMA for doing that. And because they stream their stuff on those social platforms, we might get to do some NCAA watch parties. I haven't quite decided yet if for Tuesday I want to watch CSB San Beda live at San Juan Arena, or if I want to actually host a watch party for that. That would Either option sounds very exciting. It really does. So I'm still to decide. I unfortunately will not get to be there for the NCAA opening on Saturday because it's the same day as the UAAP opening. But I do look forward to having more NCAA content this season, at least compared to last season. And it's the best time of the year if you're a college basketball fan in the Philippines. It might be raining like cats and dogs outside. The people still say that, and but the action on the court is going to be pretty damn hot. So I'll be seeing you guys there. Peace out. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.